Not too long ago, there was a trailer for the last Demon Slayer arc, being the Infinity Castle arc. Knowing that, I feel like it's the perfect time to talk about not only the strongest Slayer, but the strongest character in Demon Slayer. Yes, I'm talking about Yoriichi. Now, when it comes to him in the story, at most he's presented in brief flashbacks or just mentioned, so it's not like we see much of him. Well, not until the Infinity Castle arc. Now, obviously, this will contain spoilers for the final arc, so proceed at your own discretion. Now, in the Infinity Castle arc, Yoriichi's story is kind of spread out a little bit, even though it still isn't too difficult to follow. Because entering chapter 177, it shows you Yoriichi's backstory through Kokoshibu's point of view. It shows that Yoriichi is the younger twin to Kokoshibo and was born with the Demon Slayer mark. Obviously, his father didn't know what it meant, but since it looked ugly, his father wanted him to be executed. But his mother obviously was against it, so instead he planned to just send Yoriichi off as soon as he turned 10. The only people who really talked to Yoriichi on a regular basis was Kokoshibo and his mother. Even receiving a flute from Kokoshibo, they carried until the day he died. A little while after that, Yoriichi lets Kokoshibo know that his dream is to become a samurai. Around this point, nobody really thought much of Yoriichi, so being a samurai should have been out of the question. But everybody realized he was special when he beat someone who served directly under his father in one-on-one combat. Mind you, at this time he was only like 7. Not only that, but Kokoshibo couldn't land a hit on this guy, so obviously this made Yoriichi really special. A little while after this, his mother died, so he decided to leave the house. But he wanted to say goodbye to his brother first because he cared deeply for him. That's the reason he carried the flute after all. Plus, if he stayed, Kokoshibu's life would have been way harder because he was a better fighter. And obviously, being a better fighter in this day and age counted for something. Now, after he left, he isn't seen until about 10 years later, where he easily saves his brother from a demon. And now his skills are at his peak and so much better that he is considered a full-fledged samurai. Just like in the earlier season in the anime, it tells you that the breeding techniques came from him. He even went out his way to teach the other demon slayers a modified breeding system. This leads to more breeding styles and more people getting a demon slayer mark. Now bear with me because there is a little bit more info. It's just the info I'm going to tell you about. It's more about from your Yoriichi memories, and these memories that I just told you about was from Kokoshibo. There is a little bit different. In Kokoshibo memories, Yoriichi seems to be an extraordinary person, or in Yoriichi mind, Yoriichi seems to be a more humble person, and he kinda is. We even get the reason to why he started becoming a demon slayer in the first place, and I'll tell you that right now. You see, Yoriichi thought that life was beautiful and loved the world around him. He even ended up having a wife and child with a girl he met when he was younger. Well, until one day he went out to get help for the birth of his child, just to come back and see his wife and child lifeless. At that moment, his dream to live a quiet life with his family was snatched away from him, thus leading him to become a demon slayer. Well, actually, the strongest demon slayer. And because of these events, he was bound to hunt Muzan because he's the king of demons, so he wanted to go for the head itself and take it. I'll cover the Muzan versus Yoriichi fight in a second. But Yoriichi himself, he actually never died or was killed by anyone. He just died of natural causes when he got above the age of 80. So for a significantly long time, nobody was able to touch this man, even in his old age. Okay, that's his backstory, but we still need to talk about how strong Yoriichi is. Yoriichi feats are heavily limited to only a few fights, and these fights are kinda quick. But it don't matter because 2 fights I want to talk about is Yoriichi versus Muzan and Yoriichi versus Kokoshibo, the 2 strongest of the demons. If you're wondering why I keep saying Yoriichi is the strongest, it's because of how these fights happen. Let's start with Yoriichi versus Muzan. Yoriichi one day happened to run across Muzan Tamayo. This fight was brief, but because yes, any hit Muzan landed on Yoriichi probably would prove fatal, but he never landed a single one. Funny enough, during the fight, Yoriichi perfected his 13th form, nearly killing Muzan in one swift strike. Obviously, Muzan lived, but not by defeating Yoriichi. He lived by exploding his body into 1,800 pieces, which Yoriichi cut over a little bit over 1,500, nearly killing him fully. Mind you, the current Demon Slayers needed help and multiple draws hindering Muzan, so they could hold him off. Not even kill him, just hold him off until the sun arrived. Meanwhile, Yoriichi just walked up on him, nearly handled the job by itself. The other fight is Kokoshibo, who Yoriichi fought when he was over 80. That's right, despite Yoriichi being over 80, he still was too fast for Kokoshibo, nearly taking his head off in the first strike. Even Kokoshibo knew the next attack would kill him, because despite Yoriichi being old, he was still too fast and strong. Luckily for Kokoshibo, the next attack never came. Yoriichi died of natural causes before he could attack him again. Mind you, it took 3 Hashiras, 3 of the strongest Hashiras at that, and a guy with demon power just to put up a challenge for Kokoshibo. If we're being honest, he mainly just gave in. It isn't like they really got him. Now that's basically the deal with Yoriichi and how strong he is. Now, I'm sure I may be missing some details, but I don't think that's a problem. I actually like how they did Yoriichi being like his parallel to Kokoshibo, but who cares about what I think? How do you feel about Yoriichi or about Demon Slayer in general? But besides that, that's basically it.